Hi guys, this is Jenny. I was going to go through a layout I did using the color palette challenge from scrapfriends.com. I found recently it's got great sketches, great color palette sketches, and I was really excited about it. It's very sort of forward in terms of the sketches being very loose and very they've got lots of splatters and different sort of mixed media sort of insinuations to them that would lead you to that, which I think are really cool. But this was the color palette challenge, which was actually a sort of a, I'll link it below, but it was sort of a dessert-like looking plate. So I'm just going to go through some of the quick papers here that I use. This is a crepe paper from the Maggie Holmes collection. It's got a really cool wood grain and this dark navy polka dot. Navy was one of the colors. I'm going to use this bottom right corner piece and cut it out, the You Make My Heart Sing. At the beginning I was going to use that, it's a very old Studio Calico die cut circle sort of wood or brown print. I had planned to use it as a mask, but I used it here as the paper, and this is the background I'm going to use. It looks very similar to the LA Studio paper that is so popular, but this is actually from I Love Scrap. It's almost exactly the same, although it doesn't have the little things written on the top, left and the bottom right corners. So I thought I might use some stickers. These are some other things I might use. A little piece of an Amy Tangerine sketchbook, some Heidi Swapp color shine paper I thought I might missed, but didn't end up using. I had just gotten a whole bunch of paper, probably more paper than I have ever gotten before. So I was just dying to use it all, as you will see. But I'd gotten the Yes Please Amy Tangerine 6x6 and the 6x6 Lucky Charm Dear Lizzie collection. And then I thought I might use one of these sort of pink paisley words, and I didn't end up doing it. Actually, that other one was not Heidi Swapp Color Shine. It was pink paisley as well. But anyway, I did use one of these tags, and I dipped it in some embossing powder and use some of the washi and some of those or one of those paper clip or clothespin clips. It's very similar to the Pebbles ones that are out, and I'd water down some Studio Calico Mr. Huey's that I use sort of in combination with some of the regular color of the same Mr. Huey that I use to water that down. So I'm just going to go and start to kind of put that together a little bit. I believe I do a sketch here in a minute. I really loved finding this website because the sketches are really they're a lot more different. They stand out so much more to me than a lot of other ones do. Not in a completely bad way, but just in a, obviously I feel like scrapbooking is progressing into a much more mixed media base, encouraging media that's mixed sort of background, and I love that. I think it's I don't think it's for everybody, and I don't think it's always necessary. I think it depends on the person, obviously, but I do think that it's a lovely way for people that are maybe more artistic and not as sort of rigid about their scrapbooking to get involved and create a background that maybe fulfills that artistic point of their level of creativity, and then they can put some pictures on it and also put it in their scrapbook too. So anyway, that's just my little view on that. So I'm going to cut down this paper here and use that as the base. You'll see I go through a pretty major change. I started in a completely different direction and realized that it looked almost exactly like a layout I had just done. And so I abandoned that completely and basically just turned it on its side. I don't think there's anything wrong with repeating something you do. You don't have to invent the wheel more than once. Absolutely. But it just seemed a little too close to recently, too close to home. So I decided to wait on that. So I'm going to do a quick little sketch, like I try to do, and you'll see me do the same sketch that I probably either thought of or did before, um, from that previous layout. And I had wanted to use that big die cut, or the big piece of the paper that the cutout piece that I used. Not really as a title, but just sort of as a major piece to kind of break it up. Since it was a color palette challenge, I usually like to use black and whites in that, mostly to let the color stand out because that is the challenge, but also because if the colors are standing out and the black and white photos are standing out just as much, and that lets them both be important to me, and I think that's what's obviously important. I love pattern paper, I love embellishments, I love all that, but I don't want to lose the focus of the fact that essentially the point is to tell a story, or to at least provide a background and a potential story making place for the photographs. So I love using black and whites on a color challenge like this, and these just happen to be perfect. They were also very grainy photographs from a very old digital camera, probably one of the first that we had when my daughter was born, or very little. And so it helped that they were black and white because it reduced a lot of the graininess from it. So I'm just going to go through real quick and flip through some of these papers. I absolutely love these two new lines of paper, and I don't usually buy into too much pattern paper because I don't want to overdo it to the point where I can't use it. But honestly, the new things from CHA are so pretty. I kind of went on a little binge and ordered a whole lot more than I would normally do, which now puts more pressure on me to use it. But and the things I love about it, obviously, are the fact that I ordered the 6x6 pads. I ordered a lot of the bigger pieces, and or a few of them, and I ordered the Studio Calico Snippets collection in the bigger size, but I did order these other ones in the smaller ones because I just love the shrunk down size. I very rarely use a full sheet of paper, pattern paper, unless it's something like this, very minimal in the background, or something so patterned that it's, hard to get away from. And so I love having those smaller patterns, a smaller size. I just feel like it's much more likely for me to use. It's much more conducive to sort of a better, it lets me put lots more pattern on a paper without worrying that it's too overpowering. The patterns are small enough that lots of them can go together without it being too overwhelming. At least that's my idea. It's still a lot of pattern on a paper, but that's kind of my thing. So I'm just getting things set up here the way I originally thought they were going to work out. Like I said, that I had bought that Studio Calico paper a million years ago, this circle die cut, to use as a spray mist or a masking. Never used it, and then finally just decided to bite the bullet and go ahead and use it for something else. So I started with that kind of as a base, and then I love this pink camera paper from the Amy Tangerine Yes Please collection. So I'm just going to mix and match some of those things. I had a little bit of an idea of how things were going to go from the sketch, but as you'll see, I kind of changed that all around. So I'm going to throw it really fast forward mode here, let you see what I did, and I will come back. Okay, I'm back here at the end, sort of the end of the layout, and I'm just trying to fuss a little bit with some LA Studio tags and little tidbits that I kind of glue here and there, and I had some twine balled up I thought would kind of look neat, like it was unraveling, and so I'm just kind of going around with that stuff, making sure everything is secured. I end up, you can see how I changed it completely around from the other sketch. I put that black and white tidbit from the LA Studio collection at the bottom there to try to bring some of the black and white photographs, the darkness down. I'm not quite convinced that I really succeeded in that, but it's hard to do that too much with, especially with a color challenge, but I was trying to bring a little bit of that down. And I couldn't find any thickers or any letter stickers that I really liked, so I just decided to go old-fashioned and stamp some individual little letter stamps that were probably one of the first things I ever bought as a scrapbooker, and I don't use enough of because they're not right next to me, but I really enjoyed using them, and I think I'll need to use that again. So I had decided when I first picked out these pictures that the title would be My Girl. My husband's sort of been going through a little bit of his baby girl's growing up kind of realization since she's about to be 9 and 9 going on 19 kind of phase. And it seems like we end up listening to the Temptations every Sunday and inevitably hear that song, so that just seemed perfectly fitting for this. So that was the title, and so I'm going to stamp it here on a little tag and tuck it in, and then I think I look over it one or two more times. I could have added things, obviously forever, and probably did too much as it was, and ironically I never added the date, and I did not realize that until I was sort of looking back at it and thinking about when that was and which house we lived in, and realized I never added the date. So here are the close-ups, and you can see how much it changed. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.